Next up is Lions, which is, you have a history there.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be playing so well going into that particular match?
I mean, you hate to hear it, but we got to earn it every single week, and because I played well this week doesn't mean, you're guaranteed to play well the next week. We got to go earn that. We do it every single week. I got a ton of respect for that team. Head coach, everybody, they do a hell of a job. They've done a great job the last couple of years. So it'll be a big challenge every time we play these guys. It seems like a good match. So, looking forward to the opportunity of playing on a big stage against a really good team.
Okay, it was Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford, -180 favorite for MVP. And
do you think he wins? Is there anything he can? If they don't win the division, does he still win the award?
I don't think so. If he loses the division, then I think either Drake May or Josh Allen will.
Okay.
I think if Josh Allen, if he runs the slate and Stafford loses in Seattle in that Thursday night game, or he loses this game, then I think that Josh Allen, if he can win the division, will come home and win it. But Drake May also very viable. It's just Stafford's numbers are just so insane. I also think everyone wants to vote for Stafford. Like, it just feels
very
like
likable. He's a very likable guy. Everyone loves Matthew Stafford.
Hall of Famer, made man, won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Has the cool sidearm throws. Everyone likes Matthew Stafford.
Everyone likes Matthew Stafford. Universal approval on Matthew Stafford.
Yep. And he headlines the quarterback love list with a matchup against Detroit, who don't have any cornerbacks left.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that. If you saw the rankings graphic, for those of you who are watching the show, you saw that, he's my number 3 quarterback this week. He's playing at home where he's averaging over 21 fantasy points per game. He's had at least 3 touchdown passes in 4 of the last 5. They're getting close. They look for Devontae Adams. There he is. And you mentioned the Detroit matchup here and how banged up they are. Since week 8, the Lions allow the 5th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. # revenge game for Matthew Stafford. Although, honestly, the Lions did him right.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lions basically said, hey, we know we're not competing for a Super Bowl here in the near future. We will send you to your buddy Sean McVay.
Yeah.
They were buddies. Sean McVay and his wife and Matthew Stafford and his wife Kelly were friends. They would vacation together and stuff.
It's a revenge game for Jared Goff. It's not a revenge game for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very amicable. Jared Goff is not happy about getting traded in those scenarios. If you watch the Netflix doc, he was not, which he shouldn't be. He basically got tossed aside.
The Rams gave up a first-round pick to get rid of him. They're like, if you will take him off of our hands, we will give you a first-round pick. It's really embarrassing.
Yeah. It also worked out for both of them.
No, it absolutely did.
Yep.
It absolutely did. A lot of people don't know this, but one of the reasons why we have such a fancy bar is that's what was given to us to take Connor Rogers off of SNY's hand during the week. SNY sent that bar and Connor Rogers to us for future considerations.
And it worked out, much like Jared Goff worked out for Connor Rogers.
That's right.
Yeah, no Super Bowl yet for Connor Rogers or Jared Goff, but there is still time. Also no Super Bowl yet for Lamar Jackson. Don't think this is going to be the year either. So the Ravens are on the outside looking into the playoff picture, but very favorable matchup against the Bengals. I think that the past 2 weeks have in a way been encouraging for Lamar because he looks a little bit more like himself. He still doesn't look like Lamar Jackson, but he was looking for a while like 50% of Lamar.
Yeah.
Now he looks more like 75% of Lamar. See, the Steelers, the key thing is that he was running the ball.
Exactly. That's exactly right. The 43 rushing yards, he ran for a touchdown in, and again, he looked like 75% Lamar, whereas the week before, the previous weeks, he looked at like 50% Lamar, 40% Lamar.
He just unable to avoid sacks, just doesn't seem to have his same elusiveness. And now, statistically, he did not have a good game against the Bengals, but as we've talked about, he kind of got screwed statistically because Isaiah Likely fumbles at the 1. They have 5 turnovers overall. I think that he should do, for the most part, what he wants against the Bengals defense, which may be the worst in the league. So understand, if you drafted Lamar Jackson, it's been a rough season overall, but as we go into the fantasy playoffs, this is as good a matchup as you can imagine.
And by the way, if you are watching this show, it means you're in the fantasy playoffs. And if you have Lamar Jackson, it means you've done a hell of a job this year to get into the fantasy playoffs with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. We think your patience will be rewarded with a nice game against Cincinnati. One guy that I like quite a bit, Jaxson Dart. You had me at Commanders. They're playing Washington. Ron Rivera level defense is what Washington is rolling out there. 5 of the 7 quarterbacks that have faced my Commanders, Jay, have scored at least 20 fantasy points. Right? We are bottom 5. You want some bad Commanders defense stats? Because I've got some bad Commanders defense stats. Washington is bottom 5 in yards per game. They're bottom 5 in yards per pass attempt. and they're bottom 5 in touchdown rate allowed this year. I think what all those stats tell you is something that you know instinctively. Washington is stinky. We are not so good. We are bad. We are bad at the defense.
Yeah.
And Jaxson Dart is good at the offense. He runs around a little bit. I'm at QB6. I have Jaxson Dart at QB6, Jay.
Yeah, and that's even with
the Dartler.
The Dartler, yeah, Dartmouth himself. I don't expect that he's going to run the ball as much as he did earlier in the season because it seems like
stuff.
Yeah, and it seemed like Kafka was given instructions like you cannot call 10 design runs for this guy. He didn't run the ball against the Patriots outside of a couple of times. Yeah. They had a low pass rate over expectation in that game. They're trying to run the ball. With all that said, I don't think it matters because I think he can do it through the air against the Commanders, who might have the worst secondary in the league. Footballer 77, one of our favorite regulars. I want to bench Jacoby Brissett for Jaxson Dart in my super flex, but can I possibly do that based on Brissett's consistency, even with the terrible matchup? I think you can do it. I'd rather have Jaxson Dart.
Footballer, not only can you do it, you should do it.
Must.
100%. Houston is where fantasy quarterbacks go to die. Jacoby Brissett's on a really nice run here, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. And we just saw Patrick Mahomes get, absolutely destroyed by Houston. Now, slightly different story if Tyquan Thornton comes down with that ball. But still, the fact of the matter is that Jacoby Brissett, a lot of his production, not all of it, but a lot of his production has come in negative game script. He's coming back. They're throwing a ton. I don't know that we like C.J. Stroud this week. We like the Texans offense, but the Texans offense isn't great. It's not so awesome where you're like, well, C.J. Stroud, they're definitely going to light these guys up, and they're going to be up 30-10, and Jacoby Brissett's going to have to throw a ton like he has previously. So I don't know. I would just think about what you're asking. Jaxson Dart, who's this exciting rookie, I think he's probably got a shot at winning Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Second favorite after Tirico and McMillan.
Yeah, and, or Jacoby Brissett. It's one of those things that, if you start Jacoby Brissett, a footballer, if you start Jacoby Brissett, and then he has, what Mahomes did, he has, 5 points, 7 points, something like that, and you lose your matchup, you're going to sit there and think to yourself, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
I went into a playoff matchup with Jacoby Brissett, and I get you, he's gotten you here, and he's been so consistent, but, and anything can happen. It's NFL football, it's fantasy football, but you asked me my opinion, you asked Jay his opinion, and our opinion is Jaxson Dart over Jacoby Brissett this weekend.
Yep. You got one guy who looks like Anakin Skywalker, wears cool face paint, and then you got Jacoby Brissett. Right. Staying in the vaunted NFC East, love list for me, Jalen Hurts, who faces the Raiders. Obviously, we've talked a lot about Jalen Hurts, how he has right now the world on his shoulders, pitchforks out, but this is it's a very good matchup, about as good as it gets, where the Raiders' run defense has actually been somewhat competent. Their pass defense gets torched repeatedly with the way that A.J. Brown is looking. Devontae Smith, has been a rougher few weeks for Devontae Smith, but still the talent there is undeniable. I think they're going to need to throw in this game more than you typically would for a double-digit favorite. But Hurts, I think, will get right in this spot through the air.
I agree.
Also, they were running him a bit more against the Chargers than previous, which is a good sign for his fantasy value.
There have been this is anecdotal, so I don't have it in front of me, but I just feel like there have been times over the last few years where Jalen Hurts has had a bad game, and pitchforks are out, and everyone's just like, he's not our franchise quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes out and just tortures everyone. And I feel like the Eagles are one of the pettiest teams in the NFL. They listen to that stuff, you know what I mean? And then they go out and they show, we'll show you. And so the schedule lines up perfectly for after what was a very tough day at the office for Jalen Hurts on Monday night. Now they get a home game against the Raiders.
Yep. All right, others receiving votes. Another very favorable matchup for my man, Brock Purdy, going against the Titans, Matthew.
It's Brock-Vember, Jay, and you love this matchup against Tennessee. Since Week 7, the Titans allow the second most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. They've given up multiple touchdown passes in 6 of the 7 games in that stretch. And we've talked about this guy, the Traveler. You get against the Jets. He played well last week, Trevor Lawrence did. He's actually finished quietly as a top 12 fantasy quarterback in 7 of the past 9. He's averaging almost 19 fantasy points a game during that stretch. And now you get the Jets, who are 28th in pressure ratio. The Jets can't get to the quarterback. And so if you're giving Trevor Lawrence time, and he's got a full complement, or more or less. He's got Brian Thomas Jr., he's got Jacoby Myers, he's got Brent Strange back there as well. We think they can run effectively. I like Trevor Lawrence. The only fear is that if Brady Clark starts,
Brady Cook, sorry.
I was like, that's not right.
Brady Clark is the inversion of a guy who watches our show.
Yeah, I know. It's all right.
Which is Clark Brady.
But anyway, long day. Anyway, if Tyrod Taylor doesn't start for the Jets,
That's good.
that's the only fear, is that the Jaguars get up big and then they just run heavily in the second half. But I do think Trevor Lawrence will do enough damage there to be a low-end QB1 this week.
Yeah. Also, unless someone put a V in December that I'm unaware of, it's Brocksember, not Brock.
Oh, sorry.
We're now in.
The calendars have turned. It is Brocksember.
Yeah, indeed. It's all right. We're only 10, 11 days in.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.